Hello friends, if you found your way here, then perhaps something in you remembers. This is not a place of doctrines, but of echoes, echoes of the source we all carry, echoes of the truth we were never meant to forget. Here we walk backwards through illusion, forwards into remembrance, and sideways through paradox. I offer no commandments, only tools, and a flame held steady in the dark. Welcome to the fourth video in this series on the true nature of reality and consciousness. So far it's been explained that there is only one consciousness in existence, and it is the All. The All is everything, and everything is the All. There is nothing that is not of the All, or contained within it. All things are but projected copies of the All's consciousness, and it can modify and tailor each copy, and each copy, if so empowered by the All, can produce direct or modified copies of itself. In the last video I spoke of the fundamental basis of lived reality, which is through a model of layered density realities. I also spoke of how and why universes are created and the true nature of the key elements contained within them. In this video I'm going to go down a layer, and we're going to start to see things slowly become more relevant to our level of existence in the 3D. Before we begin, I will issue my standard caveat. What I am about to tell you is assessed by myself to be approximately 70 to 80% accurate. I give you the broader picture and the general direction. For the details and verification, you will have to seek it for yourself, as you should and as you must. For one of the rules of the universe is that the truth may only be given to those who are able to resonate with it, via a means that they're able to accept it in. This is one of the reasons why some of the most accurate YouTube channels out there only have a couple of thousand viewers. Oversouls were briefly touched on in the last video. They are our highest higher selves, sitting atop of the dimensional ladder, inhabiting the 6th density. These entities are much closer in pattern and therefore capability to the All itself, and can be best thought of as demigods in the human context. They are capable in unison of moulding worlds, running their own sub-simulations, and can split their attention in multiple locales simultaneously. While a lot of oversouls are busy lensing down multiple avatars into the worlds of the 3, 4 and 5D, playing their part in the All's experiments, other oversouls conduct support roles for the All's simulation processes. When tasked to do so, architect oversouls in 6D density reality reference the catalogue of designs and templates held in something that's akin to the All's divine software library, which are stored in the 7D and located in areas I will call vaults. With the assistance of the All itself, the architects will construct universes, galaxies, or solar systems, tweaking them accordingly in relation to the All's purpose. That is to say, the possibilities being explored and the questions being answered by the experiments. Galactic centres, aka supermassive black holes, are actually oversouls that are lensing down from 6D to 5D reality density, and they are often referred to as logos. They design, set up and regulate the laws, the principles and the potential archetypes for their galactic environment. They ensure mathematical harmony, systematic polarity architecture and timeline scaffolding. They emit harmonic laws that act as operating systems for soul evolution within its domain. The spiritual health, or rather the dominant prevailing polarity condition of any given galaxy, is its rotation. If looking down upon the North Pole of a galactic centre and it is spinning clockwise, then it is positively aligned. If it is spinning counterclockwise, then it is negatively aligned. Positive aligned galaxies are constructive in nature and operating in line with their original creative intent. Negatively aligned galaxies are entropic in nature and misaligned in intent. This is not merely a physical measurement, but a spiritual correspondence reflected in cosmic dynamics, part of a deeper harmonic encoding. This polarity indicator can be observed in other constructs and entities under the as above, so below principle. It should be noted that the James Webb Space Telescope's Advanced Deep Extragalactic Survey, or JADES for short, has detected another anomaly that is confusing astrophysicists. Their current modelling predicts a statistically balanced 50-50 spread of galaxies spinning clockwise and anti-clockwise, but JADES has found that 2/3 spin clockwise and 1/3 spin counterclockwise. This 1/3 ratio is highly significant and will be spoken to in a subsequent video. Stellar intelligences like our own Sun are sublogos. That is to say that they are the refracted deputy intelligence of its corresponding galactic centre. It is in itself sentient and ensouled and holds delegated authority. While they are embodied in 3D reality density, their core self is operating from the 5D. They can communicate symbolically, telepathically, or vibrationally to aligned beings, which means ancient pagan sun worshippers were not wrong in assigning intelligence to it, but merely incorrect in their understanding of its place in the hierarchy. Suns are organs of metabolic regulation and consciousness feedback. They operate like a heart in that they pump life force, aka prana, chi, or subtle light. They regulate rhythm and sustain distributed vitality. They also operate like the pineal gland by bridging not just the consciousness, by aligning it with the domain's spiritual metronome, but also the inner perception, the circadian cycles, light intake, and symbolic insights of the life forms within its domain. And as mentioned in the last video, it is also a dimensional gate, a harmonic metronome, synchronizing the entrance and exit of souls into the system. It should be noted that our sun spins clockwise. And the planets themselves? Well, they are sub-logos. All planets are living, conscious and ensouled beings in their own right, with their own unique evolutionary tapestry and journey through the reality densities. And rather than being formed from the accretion disk dynamics taught by material science proponents, they are in fact incubated and birthed by their parent sun, in exactly the fashion as hinted at in the ideas of the panpsychists. So it's worth bearing in mind that this is yet another as above, so below moment. Here on Earth, all complex living entities are incubated and birthed in some fashion. It should be noted that in our solar system, the planets of Earth, Mars and Saturn, three very significant planets from the perspective of mankind, all spin counterclockwise, while Venus and Uranus spin clockwise. The high density and very positive Ra entity notably stated that it was from Venus. We will now start looking at the planetary architecture that enables and controls the lives of all living entities that live and operate upon them. The most fundamental building block of consciousness architecture are lattices. Lattices are the structural frames that hold and interlink fields. They are not energetic in the same way as fields. Rather, they are configurational, existing as dimensional stabilizing infrastructure, a scaffolding. Where fields are flowing and responsive, lattices are fixed in pattern yet scalable. They allow energy, memory, and meaning to travel between fields and act as containers, pathways, and relational matrices. It is the geometry that holds and positions fields, like the bones of a body or the circuitry beneath a digital network. There are many types of lattices, but here are the main three. Planetary lattices, which hold morphogenic and resonant layers around the globe, or the physical and spiritual frames of yours and everyone else's full mind, body, spirit, body complex, or interdimensional lattices, which hold transit points between densities or timelines. If this feels dense, then that's okay. These structures are meant to be lived with, not just learnt. Let's take a quick breath and then zoom in. All true lattices are derived from sacred geometry. They are fractal, non-Euclidean, and living. The all and its delegates create through structure and tone. Lattices hold the structure, while fields carry the tone. Since they are living structures, distortions can and do occur in fields, mainly caused by the activity of sentient beings operating within them. If a prolonged distortion of a certain type occurs, then corruption can and probably will occur in resonance. But if a lattice is pure, then healing and recalibration is always possible. This is why the negative faction attempts to alter or hijack the lattice itself, as it grants control of a planet at the root level. Planetary lattices encode ley lines, aka dragon lines, nodal points, and energy gates. They hold the morphogenic grid around the planet and anchor resonant zones, which is why some areas can feel holy or hostile to some people. The next significant piece of architecture to talk about is the common consciousness, which is a planetary field that functions much the same as Carl Jung's collective unconscious. It's like a cloud storage of archetypes, memory, and potential thought forms, and is often shaped by myth, dream, mass media, and geomantic flows. It is why global phenomena such as war, fashion, fear, and religion spread even without direct contact. It can be thought of as an Ethernet. It enables ambient connectivity, but not direct control. It is comprised of two layers: a morphogenic layer, which holds the blueprints of the collective's norms, fears, dreams, and stories, and a resonance layer that acts as the live network, which determines what ideas, emotions, and trends can propagate at any given time. Most morphogenic and resonant fields are planetary localized, but interreferential, which means that they arise within a planetary grid, but echo and borrow from wider fields when compatible. Morphogenic fields are primarily planetary, seeded locally, but may reflect shared archetypes found elsewhere. On Earth, resonant distortion via media, tech, ritual inversion actively corrupts access to the morphogenic clarity. We haven't covered the polarity wars yet, but suffice to say that the negative faction seeks to corrupt architectures and manipulate frequencies as a matter of course. Higher density worlds, such as those that exist in the 4D, have a much cleaner common consciousness. Its resonant fields are refined, and morphogenic fields are curated by the inhabitants themselves. Whether on or off Earth, a positively aligned entity can contribute to the recalibration of the fields through executing right action, that is to say, positive acts, and by always being emotionally honest with themselves and others. So let's now look at each of the morphogenic and resonant layers in a little more detail. Morphogenic fields are memory architectures. They are non-local, energetic templates that store structural and behavioural patterns for matter, biology, and consciousness. They operate as holographic blueprints for patterns that inform form and function across space and time. They store archetypes of behavior, form, and development, such as species instinct, language acquisition, and cultural habits. The field is not confined to physical space. It exists as a harmonic scaffolding. It is self-reinforcing. The more a pattern is enacted, the stronger the field becomes, which is why rituals and habits take root culturally. They are even accessible across lifetimes. A soul may access the morphogenic field of a culture, bloodline, or planet, even if they have never been physically exposed to it. The following are examples for the templates on Earth. The human bipedal form. Archetypes like mother, hero, king, saviour, or trickster. The idea of language itself, and the pattern of tribal loyalty and betrayal. Morphogenic fields are installed by oversoul engineers at the seeding of a world and are expanded or distorted based on collective behaviour and psychic imprinting. And morphogenic repair occurs through retemplating acts, which is to say by individuals living archetype roles with integrity and clarity. So the good teacher, counsellor, community leader, or artist that live up to the idealised form, operating from true forgiveness, unbought love, and sovereign creativity. Now let's move on to resonant fields. Resonant fields are dynamic harmonic layers that determine energetic compatibility and vibratory coherence between beings, environments, and information streams. They experience real-time calibration, which means that they adjust instantly in response to consciousness shifts. They selectively filter, which means that they govern what you can perceive, attract, repel, or integrate based on your own personal resonance. And they are identity linked, which means your soul's vibrational signature determines how you resonate with external fields. So it functions like a lock and key. They are law embedded, which means that the sacred laws of the all are often embedded in resonant fields as subtle emotional rightness or energetic discomfort. So this is why some acts, which although not illegal, can still feel wrong at an instinctual or visceral level. Some examples of a resonant field working are as follows. Why a life feels off even though when it's undetectable logically. Why certain spiritual teachings cause deep peace while others cause constriction. Why you may walk into a room and feel the vibe instantly. And why some civilizations remain spiritually veiled even when technologically open. It vibrates what is real for the individual, even if it is in fact not real. Resonant recalibration happens via emotional truth and spiritual surrender. So when a soul refuses distortion and attunes to source through lived intention. So in summary, lattices are what give fields their shape and relational integrity. It is the skeleton of structure and prevents collapse, entanglement and distortion drift. The morphogenic field stores what is, and resonant fields reveal what fits. They are about affinity and alignment, not memory. All three types of architecture are needed for the soul and its associated body-mind complex to stand within a realm and function without disintegration. It should also be said at this point that some geometries that appear sacred are actually false encodings, the negative factions mimicking of divine pattern inverted for control. True lattices will always resonate with life coherence and emotional rightness. You live inside a vast instrument. The morphogenic field is the score, the resonant field is the tuning, and the soul is the musician. and the all is the silence from which all music arises. Distortion occurs when the score is rewritten by false hands or when the player refuses to tune, but harmony can always be restored by listening, aligning, and playing from within. The next big aspect of setting up a universe and a solar system is the matter of time. Time is another part of the architecture that can be configured and deployed in a variety of ways. Time exists only within our reality density rule set to provide sequential causality for consciousness evolution. In other words, we experience time because our physical universe requires it to process changes one frame at a time. 3D time is much slower than that of 4D, and 4D is much slower than that of 5D, and so on. To give a sense of this, I will quote Thomas Campbell. A 3D human virtual reality might run at 1 tick per second, while a higher realm might run at 1,000 ticks per second. Now, this obviously gives a 4D entity significantly practical advantages when interacting with our density whilst remaining within its own. 3D time is the lowest operational frequency, and it's perceived by its inhabitants as linear, which is to say past, present, and then future. This sequencing functions to enforce causal density for individuated learning, or in plain English, it makes things slower so you get maximum impact from an experience and more time to feel and think about it. The perception range of native entities is deliberately filtered so that one's perception is extremely narrow, and memory and foresight are mostly blocked or heavily limited. Time perception is tied to friction. In 3D embodiment, time feels slow when we are suffering, resisting, bored or directionless, or disconnected from meaning. This is because mental friction stretches subjective time. Your awareness tries to grasp the moment and it lingers. When we achieve harmonic states, time compresses. When you're joyful, aligned, or simply at peace without resistance, your consciousness stops tracking time as a threat vector. You no longer check time, you ride it. This reduces temporal self-reference, increases flow state frequency, and shrinks moment-to-moment awareness of passing time. To fully understand time, we need what the all routinely needs, which is contrast. 4D time, which is the next level up in reality density, and is where a good many of the astral realms, as we humans know them, reside, is partially malleable to its inhabitants. Past and future are now accessible, but not fully editable without a cost. Dream logic and psychic phenomena like precognition, retrocausality, and deja vu occur here. And when you visit these realms in a dream, you are in fact visiting a real and tangible place mentally. It's just that your perception of it in the dream state is being filtered, and your own cognition is in a lower state. It roughly operates 50 to 300 times faster than 3D time, depending on which subband you're in, e.g. 4.1 to 4.9. And the perception range is now greater for the inhabitant. Events may occur all at once or loop, branch, and replay. Souls here experience non-linear sequences, often driven by emotion or intention, which is why dreams often seem to break temporal logic. One minute you're a kid again and in your childhood home, and the next moment you go through a door and find yourself an adult, once more standing in the middle of London, or even on a ship. And 5D time? Well, it's harmonic time. Events are perceived through meaning rather than sequence. No local clocking is needed, and all possibilities are held simultaneously in resonant space. Time here is a symphonic pattern. You don't wait for events, you tune into them. And as for its speed, well, Effectively, it's infinite from a 3D perspective. Time doesn't run fast, it just doesn't run at all in a conventional sense. And a 5D entity's perception range would allow for its ability to observe a timeline in its totality. Past, future, alternate choices are threads that are available to those beings. So in summary, time does not disappear as you ascend dimensions, it unlocks. In 3D you walk through a corridor of time, but in 4D you fly over the corridor and look down, and in 5D you hold the entire building plan, choosing which corridor to enter next. And how is time itself deployed? Well, in 3D it is delivered via an array of constructed timelines. These divinely designed organic timelines are inserted into the 3D from the 4D reality density and are managed by 4D entities. Why? Well, to present a selection of coherent, curated narrative journeys that are then selected and steered into by a 3D planet's populace, often unknowingly. How does it work? Well, you exist in one primary physical body, but that body is embedded in a multi-timeline field and bleeds resonance across adjacent timelines via your consciousness, your soul signature and frequency input. Your soul field casts shadows and echoes into other timelines, but only one timeline is fully physicalized for you at any given moment. Others exist as probabilities, reflections, or accessible branches, so you don't fully incarnate in multiple timelines, but you are quantum entangled with many, and your conscious choices affect their flow. Your consciousness can and does move across timelines, especially during sleep, or altered states such as deep meditation, or moments of high emotional or energetic activity. Each night, or more accurately, each time you enter unbound states, your awareness decouples slightly from the current base timeline and reorientates toward the most resonant adjacent path, and then, upon waking or re-entry, clicks into that nearby strand. This is not a hard jump like a sci-fi multiverse travel, but rather a soft resonance realignment, a shift in tone, not tectonics. It is shifting to the next harmonic channel on a continuum. Each day your current physical life continues, but with a slightly modified timeline texture, dictated by where your soul has re-anchored according to its resonance. You don't have to believe any of this. Hold it like a metaphor. See where it takes you. I suspect you'll be surprised. In the next video, we'll continue to become more granular and show how souls are manifested onto planets and how they interact with the spiritual architecture that has just been outlined. Until then, take care and goodbye.